I don't know what I'm doing. All right, boys. Just came back from NFL HQ. Got the script for the NFL draft this year. But nah, today we're back with the NFL mock draft. We're gonna mock draft the first round as every team. I don't know if I'm gonna do trades. I'll see how this plays out. I kind of do want to do trades because I have a big one in mind, but we'll see how it goes. So yeah, we're gonna pick for every team players who I think will be selected with that pick. What pick I would make if I was the GM. But just hear me out. I'll just play it by like need. All right. And what I hear in the rumor mill. Okay. I just came back from NFL HQ. They gave me the script. I know what's going down. I'm gonna give it to y'all. All right. How about that? All right. Let's kick this off. Okay. First pick. We got the Titans. And I'm about to do something crazy. All right. I don't even think the Raiders have a GM yet, but I feel like this would be a good move on Las Vegas's, the Las Vegas side. Don't look too much into the trade, like what's in the trade, because I mean, it'll probably be more than what I'm about to offer. I'm just gonna predict that the Raiders trade up, and then I'm just gonna give him. No. What am I doing? I got this in reverse. Damn it. All right. So I got Las Vegas Raiders trading up for the first pick. And with that first pick, okay, hold on. Okay, I'll get to the Tennessee side. I feel like it makes a lot of sense for the Raiders. They got pieces on offense. You got Brock Bowers, arguably the best tight end in the AFC side, anyways. Had a huge season last year with Gardner Minshew and AJ McConnell at quarterback. The Raiders gotta step up their game. I don't know if they're gonna sign a vet this offseason or do this. You know, they might do both. Well, no, because they got AJ McConnell, so I think they're gonna want them as their backup at least. So, anyways, the Raiders, I got them taking Cam Ward. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft class. I think he'll mesh well in Las Vegas in terms of like that team. They got pieces on the offense. They could use an explosive running back, another receiving weapon. They do got Jacoby Myers. They still got Max Crosby, and he might request a trade if they don't make any big moves to, lead this team forward. They still got Christian Wilkins. They do got to add some more pieces in that defense. But I feel like taking Cam Ward, taking Cam Ward, your quarterback of the future, is a step towards that step of success. So it's gonna bring them closer, I think. And yeah, I think Cam Ward's an amazing quarterback. So if you believe in him, go and get your guy. I know that Shedeur Sanders has been linked to like the Giants and the Raiders, so maybe the Raiders would want to jump the Giants because I feel like the Giants would want to take Shedeur Sanders and try to get Shedeur. But I think Cam Ward is the better quarterback, so I'm gonna go with Cam Ward in my mock draft, and I just know what's going on. All right. Next, we got Cleveland. We got the Browns. They got a whole Myles Garrett situation going on. He might get traded. If they trade him, they lose cap space. Or not cap, they lose money, essentially, from what I understood. But they're trying their best to try to keep him. And to keep him, they got to prove that they're taking steps in the right direction. I don't know if they're going to take quarterback here. They might. Well, I don't even know if they got money to sign someone else. Or, you know what? I think a smart move with them would be to take Abdul Carter. If they do trade Myles Garrett, they got his replacement. If they don't, they got someone lined up across. Or not cross, but on the other side of Myles Garrett, beef up that D line. You can draft maybe a Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe in the later rounds. And if they don't work out, take a quarterback in next year's draft. That class might be stacked. So I feel like that's the proper game plan for Cleveland. I see a lot of people picking Abdul Carter for Cleveland. And that's where I'm going to go. Giants. The Giants have been linked with Shedeur Sanders a whole ton. You see Shedeur Sanders wearing the cleats with the logo on it. You see videos of Shedeur Sanders talking to Brian Dable. I feel like it makes sense. They take their guy. They might even sign a veteran to be some competition there or even teach the young guy. But I feel like just from all the rumors and all the videos, I've been seeing them talking and him wearing the logos, I feel like they want him. They want him and they're going to take him. So I got Shedeur Sanders to the Giants. Next pick, we got New England. Now, New England's an interesting team. They could take Travis Hunter, who is like more of a corner than he's a receiver. Don't get me wrong, that dude got some hands and he's a pretty good receiver. But I don't know if they really need another corner here. I mean, I know Travis Hunter can play both sides, but in the NFL, he might be limited to one side. So they could look at other receiving options. You do got McMillan, but I feel like what this team should really focus on is that offensive line. And with that, I'm going to have them take Will Campbell. I think he's my favorite offensive line prospect in this year's draft. And I feel like that makes sense. I think he definitely go in the top 10. And I feel like it's a good spot here in New England. So, yeah. As for the Jags, here's the thing with Jags. They could use corner. They could use another receiver. And they could also use another tackle. I think those are three biggest needs. And with that, if you take one of the most generational type of prospect in this year's draft, he can play both of their needs, two of their top three needs. And I feel like that makes too much sense for the Jags not to take Travis Hunter here with that fifth spot. Now, I've seen some arguments. People are saying, yeah, he can play both sides of the ball, but he's not elite in either side. But still, he's a generational type of athlete, and you want those kind of athletes on your team. I feel like this makes a lot of sense for Jacksonville, who are in desperate need of athletes, especially since I'm hearing more and more rumors of them trying to trade Christian Kirk. So there's that. And then back to Tennessee. Now, Tennessee, they could have stuck with the first pick and took it a quarterback, or taken up Duke Carter, or, I mean, those are really only two options at number one pick. But now that they trade back, they have much more options. They can improve the roster for maybe potentially taking a quarterback next year, or if Will Levis starts improving this year, or if they sign a veteran quarterback. I feel like, what the heck is this massive ad? Okay, whatever. It gives them more options to improve the roster. And I think that's what a team like Tennessee really needs. So I can barely see all the prospects left because of this big ass ad. All right. We'll work our way around it, I guess. Let's see who's here. You got Will Johnson. You got McMillan. I mean, those two are two of their bigger needs. I'm gonna give this team another target. I'm gonna give the Titans McMillan. That might be a bold prediction. Bro, get this ad out of my face, bro. What is up? There we go. Got it fixed. Okay, so that might be a downgrade to some trading back and taking a receiver. But, you know, they could have also got Mason Graham, Will Johnson. I would have been fine with that as well. But, yeah, I get some more picks, though. It does get more picks to take other needs, area needs. And if Will Levis or a quarterback they take don't pan out this year, they can take a quarterback next year. So, I'm thinking long-term with the Titans here. Long-term. Next pick, we got the Jets. The Jets could use a lot of things. They could definitely use a quarterback. I don't know who their quarterback is going to be. But all the first-round kind of worthy quarterbacks are off the board right now. So what they do now, they can either trade back, because pretty soon there's going to be a huge wave of teams wanting to take O-line and edge players. This could be a potential place where another team trades up. I don't think it will happen. I think they'll focus on their defense. They just got Aaron Glenn to be their head coach. He's the defensive focused head coach. So I think they're going to go ahead and beef up that D line as well and take Mason Graham out of Michigan. I feel like that's a good fit for Aaron Glenn in that Jets defense. Next pick, we got the Panthers. What do they need? They definitely got to work on the defense. That defensive line for sure. Ever since they lost Brian Burns, and then Derrick Brown, he went out with an injury out for the season last year. So they can definitely work on that D line. Maybe some parts of that secondary too, because J.C. Horn, he's somewhat injury prone. So they still have Will Johnson. But I feel like the better pick here would be, I'm going to go with Mikael Williams out of Georgia. I feel like that satisfies needs in that defensive line. Young guy out of Georgia that Georgia D-line, you can't go wrong with taking any of those guys. Next pick, we got the Saints, New Orleans Saints. I feel like their biggest needs, receiver and corner. Receiver and corner. Chris Olave, been taking a lot of concussions, been getting injured a ton. We don't know how much longer I'm not going to say that. He has durability issues. In corner, they just traded Marshall Lattimore. They got Paulson Adebo. He's a free agent. He might not resign with the team, so they really need to focus on that secondary as well. They got to get another option. I feel like receivers, they can wait a little bit because they do got Shaheed and Olave. So I am going to have them take the best available pick, or best available player left on the board. I'm going to go with Will Johnson, satisfy that corner need there for New Orleans. Now Chicago. I think this is where all the O-linemen start to go. Chicago. Desperate need of O-line. Protect that franchise quarterback in Caleb Williams. I know a lot of people hate him. He's a talented quarterback. He's a young guy. He needs protection. I think he was the most sacked quarterback last year. I think, if that's correctly. So we're definitely going to look at O-line. And first O-line that appears here is Josh Simmons. I do not think it will be him. I think it will be Tyler Booker. Just because he's kind of like a flexible player on that O-line. He can play guard. He can play tackle. And that's the kind of player the Bears, I envision the Bears needing. So I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Next pick, you got San Francisco. With San Francisco, they do got to work on that offensive line and defensive line. So let me scroll. What is up with all these ads, man? Get these ads out. San Fran, I think they go either offensive line and defensive line. I know Kelvin Banks is the first offensive tackle here on the board. I missed that last pick, but it doesn't matter. I heard the rumors of him falling. He got destroyed by Georgia. I think that might scare some teams, so I think he's going to fall down on the draft boards on some teams. So I'm not going to go with Kelvin Banks. Next player, I think they'll take probably Membu. Armand Membu. Membu? Something like that. I gotta stop pronouncing his name. Just the tackle out of Missouri. Addresses their tackle need. They got one of the best tackles in Trent Williams. He's getting up there in age. He might retire soon. So they need another young guy to fill a spot in there. That's be a tough task to fill. They also got to look defensive line. But I think this is where, again, all the teams are going to start taking an offensive line here. So they're going to hop on that train too. Next, you got Dallas. Everyone and their mothers are saying Ashton Jeanty in this pick. That'd be the most Jerry Jones pick ever. Zach Martin just retired. They heavily need offensive line now. But just to piss off the Cowboys fans, I'm gonna go with the Jerry Jones type pick and take Ashton Jeanty, get a playmaker for an offensive line that can't block for crap. So if I'm in the head, that's what the script is telling me. The geriatric Jerry Jones is going to take a running back instead of their most important precedented need in offensive line. It's hard. That's what it is. That's what the script said. It is what it is, man. Next pick, we got Miami. I totally didn't give Dallas a running back to get Miami a solid offensive line. Man, I totally didn't mean to do that. Give me Josh Simmons. Similar to Booker, I feel like he can play. Some teams listed him as an inside lineman, whereas some other listed him as a tackle. I feel like he's another flexible player that can play guard or tackle. So that's something Miami really needs. They need a guard and a tackle, so why not get a player that can play both? So we got some young pieces on that line. Continue to build that line. Another way that Miami can go is defensive line. They can get another defensive tackle. That's another heavy need for us. Maybe corner, maybe another receiver. Those are probably our three top needs. Some are saying safety because we might lose Javon Holland. It sounds like we are going to lose Javon Holland. So maybe safety, but it's too early for a safety in my opinion. Next pick, the Colts. Now, this is another popular pick in most mock drafts that I've seen with them taking Malachi Starks. But, the Colts, talk to Pat McAfee. They've been a poverty franchise last year, in the last few years, maybe. But what if I give them a wild pick? I'm gonna give them a wild pick here. Give AR-15 another pass catcher. Build on that offense. Take Tyler Warren, a generational type prospecting tight ends. Not many tight ends are worthy of a first round draft pick. He is. So I'm gonna give the Colts another offensive weapon. I've seen this in some mock drafts as well, and I kind of like it. Of course, they got to look at defense too. I think they might bring in a veteran quarterback as well. They can fill in some more defensive needs through free agency, and I'll probably make another mock draft after free agency to see where like teams stand at that point. But as of now, I'm gonna give them Tyler Warren just cause. So why not? I don't see Tyler Warren falling past 14 either. So now here we got Atlanta, Cardinals, Bears, or not Bears, Bengals. These next few teams, I feel like we might get 3 straight edge rushers. I know it's going to be defense. It might be edge rushers or interior defensive guys. So the Colts could be another team that trades back down. A team who really wants one of these edge rushers might trade up to the Colts and try to jump the Falcons, Cardinals, and Bengals for an edge rusher. So that's another area to look out for trades. But here, I don't think I'm going to make any more trades. For the Falcons, I'm going to get them. Definitely, they are in desperate need of an edge rusher. And according to this, they got Mike Green as the next one worthy being drafted. But I'm actually going to go with Nick Gordon. I really like him out of Texas A&M. He's a really good athletic edge rusher. And that's something the Falcons are in desperate need of. Same thing with the Cardinals here. They definitely need an edge. Build on that D-line. Build on that. Whoa. But it's either edge or tackle here, in my opinion. And they still got. I know Banks is still on the board. You got Jalen Walker. I feel like he's another athletic edge rush out of Georgia. And, if he's on the board, got to take Jalen Walker, in my opinion. Now we got the Bengals. Bengals are another team in need of an edge. They can definitely go. James Pierce. He's a popular pick. He was a projected first, overall pick in the beginning of the college football season, but kind of fell. And now reports are coming out he has character issues, so he might even fall further. So I'm not going to take him here. I'm just going to project him to fall. For the Bengals, I kind of like Shamar Stewart because you can put him inside or outside, but I'm going to go with a sneaky one that has been getting a lot of attention in the last few weeks. I'm going to go Mike Green out of Marshall. Another athletic one who destroyed that Oregon tackle in the senior bowl practice or something like that. But he's killing it. He's getting a lot of hype as of late. Seattle. Now this is a hard one to predict. They can go tackle. They can go edge. They can go linebacker. I don't see them taking a receiver here. They still got Kelvin Banks. They can go ahead and try to take, I think the top linebacker is Campbell. They might take him. He's another popular one that's been taking this pick. I kind of like that. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Campbell. Fits their linebacker need there. They definitely need a linebacker there to fill in that defense. They're trying to rebuild that defense. Bucks, I think they definitely look at edge. They could also look at a lineman or a tackle. So you got options. You got Kelvin Banks and you got James Pierce. I think they take one of these two. And I'm going to go with James Pierce. I think this is too much of a fall for James Pierce. So I don't see them getting in around the 20s area. But watch him to fall into that later teens area. I think that's where he's more likely to land. Broncos. I don't know why they have the listed at tight end as the number one need. But I don't think they go tight end, especially in the first round. There is another talented tight end in Loveland. But I don't see him being taken in the first round. I see a lot of people mocking him. But I don't know, man. I think there's other needs here. I think they definitely need receiving threat, and the number one here is Luther Burden. Let's see some of the other options. They got Amika Buka, Matthew Golden. But I'm going with Luther Burden out of Missouri. He's a dog, man. I really like him out of Missouri. So give Bo Nix another receiving threat. Line up on the other side as Courtland Sutton. I think it makes a lot of sense for Denver. Next, we got the Steelers. Steelers can also look at receiver. But I think their most pressing need is D-line. And I think Shamir... Where is he? They almost has the edge. Okay. Shamir Stewart. I'm going to go Shamir Stewart out of Texas A&M as well. Build up that D-line. It's kind of getting old. I know they got Hayward. He's still balling. But give some more... Build up that D-line. Give them more depth in there. Next, we got the Chargers. Now, this is another one that can go a lot of different ways. I think they're going to go tackle. I think Kelvin Banks, this is around the area where Kelvin Banks will go. He kind of fell a lot. But I see him going around in the 20s. There's a lot of teams here that could probably take him. I feel like going to the Chargers would make a lot of sense. But watch out for Loveland, out of Michigan. Jim Harbaugh used to coach Michigan. That would make a lot of sense too. But I'm going to go with tackle out of Texas, Kelvin Banks. Green Bay. I think they definitely need corner. I think the D-line, they got some guys there already. They can definitely work in that secondary. A lot of reports saying they might release or trade Jameer Alexander. And if that's the case, I think they go corner. And my next corner, I think the best available corner, I think, in my opinion, is Benjamin Morris. Watch out for Thomas. He might think in the first round, but I'm going with Morrison out of Notre Dame. I think he was really impressive throughout the playoffs. And I just like what I saw. And I'm just going to go with Benjamin Morris here for Green Bay. I feel like he'd be a good fit there for Green Bay. Next, Minnesota. Okay, so Minnesota, I think they definitely go defense. I've seen some people projecting that Javon Holland, if he were to enter free agency, he would go to the Vikings just because Brian Flores is there. I think he'll fit their scheme. I feel like that make a lot of sense for them. But if he doesn't, we don't know. That's not like for sure yet. But if he doesn't, I like Malachi Starks out of Georgia here. I feel like that makes sense. Minnesota really likes their having two good safeties there. They've always had a good safety here, Harrison Smith, but he's getting up there in age, so they might have to find his replacement, or he might just, play alongside with Harrison Smith. Next, we got Texans. They could go tackle, they could go interior line, they could definitely build some depth there because throughout the season, they were getting banged up. It would make a lot of sense if they went online, but I feel like they can build on their wide receiver core. Get a Mika Buka, who played with C.J. Stroud, I believe, in Ohio State. So they kind of know each other. Because throughout the season, Texas did lose Stephon Diggs, I believe, in Week 5 with a torn ACL. We don't know if he's going to come back or not. They lost Tank Dell. He might be out for a significant amount of time. Might miss next season as well. So we'll see what happens with Tank Dell. So they definitely got to bring some more depth in at receiver. And I feel like this is a good pick to add a receiver. Especially at Ohio State, they've been producing a lot of really good receivers in the NFL. So I'm going to go with Mika Buka, especially since C.J. Stroud came from Ohio State as well. Now, the Rams, they're going to lose offensive tackle. I feel like they should focus on offensive tackle here. Watch out for the Rams. They might be one of those teams that trades up with the Colts to go ahead and, that'll be for edge. They might go ahead and jump up. Maybe with the Niners and try to take one of those top tackles, but I don't have that in my keys right now. So I'm going to have them go White Millum out of West Virginia. Sneaky took a tackle. You got some other guys here. Again, not all that familiar with the strength of these tackle prospects. So I'm just going to have them take a tackle here. I know that's a need for them. Next, Baltimore. They can also be another team that takes tackle. Who knows if Ronnie Stanley might return to the team this offseason or not. They could use another corner. Jahad Barron, Siobhan Revel. But I don't think so. I think their top two corners right now are good. I think you got to add another receiving threat for Lamar Jackson. I know they got Zay Flowers. They got Rashad Bateman. Why not add another good receiver here, Matthew Golden, who's been popping off in the postseason in college football this last year? He's been doing a great job there for Texas. I feel like it's a good fit for Baltimore, giving them a tall receiver there. Next, Detroit. I feel like their most pressing need would be adding depth for edge. They were going thin throughout the season go on. I think a lot of injuries in that position, but I don't see any guys here worthy of a first-round draft pick. So maybe they can add more depth to that interior or tackle spot. I feel like that'll make a lot of sense. Take a player like Josh Conley, who I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've seen him listed as an interior O-line too. So he might be one of those other that like big tackle kind of prospects. So I'm gonna go them taking the tackle out of Oregon, building some depth there. Washington's another team that can look at offensive tackle. They can look at receiver, but I don't see any other receivers here. Maybe Isaiah Bond could be an option for them. Maybe they look at defensive line. I feel like this would be a better spot for them. They do got depth there already, I believe. but I think Jonathan Allen might. I believe Jonathan. There's been some rumor they're gonna get rid of Jonathan Allen. If they do, Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon might be a good replacement. So I'm gonna have, Dan Quinn is a defensive-minded head coach as well. So I'm gonna have him invest in that D line and take Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. Now Buffalo. I feel like Buffalo definitely has to focus on defense. They need especially that defensive line. They can't compete with those top tier teams with really good defensive lines. Yeah, they got Josh Allen. It's almost impossible to stop his tush push. His tushy's getting pushed. But Kansas City always has the best of them, especially in the postseason. They could definitely, and we all saw what Philadelphia was able to do with their defensive line against Kansas City in the Super Bowl. So I think Buffalo is going to take a page out of Philadelphia's playbook and kind of invest in that D line. And by doing so, I think they're going to take Derek Harmon out of Oregon. I think he's the next best defensive line prospect there at this point. I can definitely see them trading down. They do like to trade down. Some might sneak in the end here in the first round and try to get their kind of guy before the second round. But we'll see. Chiefs, they're going to lose. It sounds like they're going to lose Trey Smith if he doesn't get franchise tag. And if they do, they got to invest in O-line, because we all saw the Eagles D-line absolutely owns Kansas City offensive line. So I think they're going to take an interior they're going to take a guard here. And I'm not even going to pronounce his name. A guard out of Arizona. Next, Philly. Here's the thing with Philly. They got a really good roster, but they got big free agents. Zach Bond, he's a free agent. They got Mekhi Becton, he's another free agent. I think one of those two guys might go. And if one of those two guys go, I don't think they're going to go linebacker. They could go tackle. They can go interior. Maybe Cameron Williams is the guy to keep an eye on. But here's a fun pick, man. Here's a little fun pick. This might be a little bit of a reach, because they do got Goddard. But why not take Colston Loveland? They do like to take, stack up that the tight end room. They did with Zach Ertz. They drafted Goddard when Zach Ertz was there. Why not take Loveland? He's a really good tight end prospect. Then look, they just gave me an A on this. They gave me an A. That's good. It's a good sign. That means it's a great pick. I don't even need to justify it. I feel like it makes sense. But if they do lose Mekhi Becton or Zach Ball, I can definitely see them going interior or the tackle to kind of replace that. Or they can look at edge, because it also sounds like they're going to lose Josh Sweat as well. I don't see them taking a linebacker. So, that said, that wraps up the first round here in our mock draft. Stay tuned for more content. I'm going to have Dana and the boys back on the channel pretty soon. We're going to probably do some more free agency predictions or keep track of what happens for free agency. Probably do another mock draft after the free agency to see where the team stands. And that concludes my mock draft. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.